Hi, everybody. Welcome, welcome. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Ooh, the hair's crazy. Welcome, everybody. Thank you guys for being here. Now, hold up. Welcome, everybody. How's everybody doing? Welcome, welcome, welcome back. Zenith Black, thank you for becoming a member. Shout out to you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Shout out to Zenith Black, who became a member today. I'm letting those notifications go out. We have so much to review today. And a couple things here and there. Oh my God, you guys. I'm still trying to wake up. It's been a quite a long weekend and day, and yesterday was pretty crazy for me too. Welcome, everybody. Hopefully, you guys can hear me. Hold up, because we did have some. Okay, I think that should be good. Okay. Let those notifications go out. Welcome, everybody. Were you guys notified? Let me know in the chat. Welcome. Shout out to everybody. I got my coffee and my water ready to go. How's everybody doing today? Change of weather for sure, I will say. For sure, for sure. Welcome, everybody. Thank you, thank you. Hopefully we'll get started here pretty soon. Okay. Give it maybe 30 more seconds. You were notified, Donnelly? I'm glad, because some people don't ever get notified. That's what I've realized. That's why I'm like, I've been told that some folks don't get notified. So I have to I try to wait a little bit before I get started. And yes, welcome everybody. You just got notified, Misty. Thank you. Okay, thank you. All right. Just shutting some things down. I'm excited. My grandson is his 10th place for the cute baby contest. Tiffany, congratulations. That's cute. That is cute. You're great. First of all, the fact that you have a grandson, my grandson, girl, why you look like you're 25? What do you mean, grandson? I'm looking at your picture. You look like you're 25. Shout out to you. Shout out to you. Okay. Hey, Kelly, how are you? All right. We're going to get started. All right. So, this is how we're going to do this. Now, I do want to say something because I've been following the Julia Wandel court hearing and everything. We're still following. I just figured that I'm going to do some pre-recorded videos on that following because I got day 6 and today to catch up on. I'm exhausted. So I'm like, I want to maybe do that in a separate pre-recorded video. So wait for those. We are still covering it. Yes, we are. Yesterday I took off because I was like really tired. So I decided to do that. Welcome everybody. Welcome. Car was frozen over this morning. Yeah. It's crazy. Starting up the cars and make sure you guys are staying warm, please and thank you. This is like definitely flu season and kids bringing cooties and all this crap and they sneezing everywhere. I'm just because I'm always the first to get sick when it comes to this situation. All the time. My kids bring something from school and I'm the one that gets sick. Yep. That's what I got to say. Your Harley Davidson came out with the harvesting tool. They call it a motor. Bye, James. Have a good one. Shout out to everybody. All right, guys. So we're going to get started. I want to talk about first, we are going to talk about Ellen Greenberg, but we're going to talk about Ellen Greenberg last. There's a case that I want to talk about that really caught my attention regarding this little baby girl. Okay. And just the craziness and information surrounding this case. Okay. So there is a 12-year-old by the name of Jacqueline Torres, who essentially was found, her remains were found in a container. Okay. Her remains were discovered in a container in the backyard of an abandoned home in Clark Street, New Britain, Connecticut on October the 8th, 2025. Okay. Her father says, her biological father says that he hadn't been in contact with her since her 12th birthday, which was January of 29. The last time he saw her was 2024. They believe that she died in 2024. Now, you guys know I have gone on rants about this situation about, sharing custody, splitting custody, and acting like, one parent can just be completely absent and not know anything that's going on. Now, I understand there's parent alienation. That's a real thing. I get that. But I do have a bone to pick with situations like that. And I've said it before. Okay. Because we're not about to have a baby and then we're in the court situation and then you just not around. and you're choosing to be not around, but you're still paying child support. There's a difference there, right? But he literally said that he has not seen her since last year, January. And then we're finding out that they believe she probably died in the fall of 2024, last year. I don't understand that. I don't get that. I don't get that. But maybe you guys can explain that to me in the chat. So, little Jacqueline Torres, 12 years old, her remains were found in the backyard of a bin. And her father says, the last time that he saw her was at the 12th birthday, which was last year on the 29th. She had been living with her mother, who had custody. Her father believes that she may have been missing since January or possibly earlier. Okay. The estimated time of death, the police believe that she died in the fall of 2024. And based on just the evidence, I guess it's just preliminary on the body condition, they believe that she died of prolonged abuse, malnourishment during her life. This prolonged abuse and malnourishment, I mean, isn't that what they said about Emmanuel Jarro? Prolonged child abuse? This is the thing? Like, what is going on? An autopsy is still having to be done to determine, like, exactly what happened. Now, the mother, her name is Carla Garcia. She was arrested and charged with murder, okay? Jacqueline Garcia is the mother's sister, okay? Jacqueline's aunt. I guess she was named after this child. I'm not really sure. She was arrested and charged with cruelty to persons. There's also an arrest warrant for Jonathan, I think that's how you say that, Anita, Carla Garcia's boyfriend, for murder and tampering with evidence. He has not been located. So the bond for Carla is being held to $5 million and Jacqueline Garcia is $1 million. All right. We don't know the exact cause of death. They're kind of making by looking at the bones or whatever, whatever the disposition of this body is, they're saying that it's prolonged child abuse, okay? And authorities believe that it was abuse, malnourishment were prolonged, but precise timeline and locations are being pieced together. Anita, the boyfriend, we don't know what role he played in this, right? And what we do know is that communication stopped between Jacqueline and her father. How long she's been missing before her remains were discovered, I guess we really don't know timeline, okay? So we're going to watch this press conference. It's the first time I'm watching this. If you guys have been following this case, put a 1 in the chat, all right? Let me know, and let's get into it, okay?
Let me start by thanking all of you for joining us here today. I want to start this press conference by offering my condolences to those dealing with all of the emotions and frustrations around and surrounding these absolutely terrible circumstances. Our prayers and our thoughts go to the family.
Now, it should be mentioned also that she was homeschooled. So no real way to really have like viable eyes on this kid. Like nobody really, I didn't. It's usually prolonged and somehow everyone in the kid's life manages not to see it, right? Or they don't want to report it or they don't care. That's what it is. No way, Texas Andy. You said there's a third arrest. Is it the boyfriend? I'll look into it. Let's watch this press conference and I'll look into it right now.
From the beginning, every agency that was involved in this investigation has been in constant communication with one another and worked tirelessly towards one common goal. And I can say that now our goal has always been to seek justice for Jacqueline Torres. I want to thank the men and women that are standing behind me who have been working around the clock to get us to this point. There have been a very concerning amount of rumors and mistruths that have been posted all over social media, and our goal today is to provide you with as many of the facts as we can. On a personal note, as a mother, this makes me sick to my stomach to be standing here today with what we're about to tell you. On Wednesday, October 8th, when a report of suspicious activity at 80 Clark Street in New Britain came in from an anonymous caller requesting police, responding officers had no idea what they would be walking into. This caller reported suspicious activity at a known abandoned house in their neighborhood. This house had been vacant for over 2 years, and it is owned by an out-of-state landlord from New York. None of those determined to be involved with this case have ever resided at this property. I want to thank the initial caller for speaking up, for having the courage to say something. Without that initial call, no one can say for certain where we would be at this point in time. I want to welcome to the podium the Farmington Town Council Chair, Joe Capodiferro, to offer a few words.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Joe Capitafaro, the Town Council Chair of Farmington. I can't really add too much more to what the mayor just said, but first, I also want to offer my condolences to everybody that's been affected in this tragedy. This type of investigation not only has affected the community, but also all that have worked in this investigation to bring justice for Jacqueline. I want to thank the members of the Farmington Police Department, the Britain Police Department, Connecticut State Police, the State's Attorney's offices of New Britain and Litchfield, and the Chief of Medical Examiner's office. And I'll turn it back over to the mayor.
Thank you, Joe, and thank you for.
All right, like this is what drives me crazy about press conferences, the thank yous and the this and the that when we're trying to get the information. David asks, if it's true that this happened last year, I wonder how her body didn't decompose in over a year. Was it moved around? That's the question that I would have, right? Like, we don't know. Maybe she was moved around. I'm not really sure. Texas Andy, I don't really see the other arrest, but let me know where you see that, because I don't see it. I see that there's an arrest warrant for him, for the boyfriend, but I don't really see it. But let me know. Maybe you see something that I don't.
Your partnership and all the cooperation with the town of Farmington. This time I'd like to invite to the podium the Chief of Police of the City of New Britain, Matthew Marino.
Thank you, Mayor. First, on behalf of all the men and women here from the New Britain Police Department and the Farmington Police Department, I'd like to echo the Mayor's initial remarks and offer our sincerest condolences to those impacted by this tragedy. There are no words that can make sense of a situation like this. Since October 8th, it has been the goal of every law enforcement agency involved to seek justice. While the limited information provided until today undoubtedly resulted in increased frustration across our communities, the purpose was to avoid any potential damage to the integrity of this investigation. To suggest any other explanation is an unfair judgment on the people you see standing behind me. This was not easy for anyone, and we should all take the time to recognize that their efforts are what brought us to this point, less than a week later. Now I'd like to give everyone a bit of a timeline. After responding officers made their initial discovery, the property of 80 Clark Street was established as a crime scene. Based on discussions with the New Britain State's Attorney's Office, the Connecticut State Police Central District Major Crimes Unit was requested to assist with processing this scene. At that time, the remains discovered inside the plastic storage bin were in an advanced state of decomposition. As a result, arrangements were made with the Office of the Chief Medical Examiner for assistance. Members of our detective division continued to piece together what limited information was available to better determine a timeline and possible sequence of events leading up to our initial response. Through a cooperative and intensive investigation involving our department, the Farmington Police Department, Connecticut State Police, the Office of the State's Attorney for the Judicial Districts of Litchfield and New Britain, and the Office of the Chief Medical Examiner, the child we found was positively identified as 12-year-old Jacqueline Torres.
Oh my God.
Now, while our efforts...
This is like, I'm sorry, like child case. I tell you guys, I have a hard time with child cases because when I worked in CPS for 10 years, y'all, if I could tell you, the burnout is real, right? Like when you hear about stories like this, it's real. Damn, man. I'm sorry. Church Lady, thank you so much for being a member for a month. Road to 100K subscribers for Rabbit. Thank you, Cher. Thank you so much, my love. Thank you, Church Lady. You are amazing. Thank you. I tell you guys, because I've had so many emails, cover this case, and it's pertaining to a child. And I'm very selective about the cases that I cover when it comes to children because it's really difficult for me to even process and tell you guys like how it feels. So I really have to kind of like pray about it and think about it and process it before I even talk about it. That's how deep this goes for me. Fox 61 under the videos heading 12. Okay, I will check it out. I did hear another person say that the boyfriend was arrested. Okay, let's get into this.
Continued, we were made aware of and monitored several pieces of information.
Perfect,
circling
thank you.
Different social media outlets, and I'd like to dispel some of those rumors. At no point during the course of this investigation was anyone arrested then released. Several individuals were brought in for interviews at different times over the last 5 days, but no official arrests were made until last night. At no point were requests for information being ignored. The limited information provided since last Wednesday came after careful consideration and much conversation with every agency involved with the sole purpose of seeking justice for Jacqueline by not compromising any part of this investigation. Any notifications that were made carefully by law enforcement officers in accordance with state guidelines and not done in any way that could create doubt or conflict regarding procedure being followed. And now at this time, I'd like to turn the podium over to Chief Paul Melanson of the Farmington Police Department, who has additional information.
Thank you. Investigators from the Farmington Police Department, with the assistance from the New Britain Police Department, have determined that Jacqueline likely died in the fall of 2024 while her family was still residing in Farmington.
That is crazy.
Evidence indicates that Jacqueline was the victim of prolonged physical abuse and malnourishment prior to her death. It is also believed that following her death, Jacqueline's body was kept in the family's basement and subsequently moved when the family relocated from Farmington in March of 2025. As a result of our investigation, 2 individuals have been taken into custody in connection with Jacqueline's death. Jacqueline's mother, Carla Garcia, was located last night by members of the Farmington and New Britain Police Departments and arrested on the strength of an arrest warrant charging her with Connecticut General Statute 53A-54B, which is murder with special circumstances, along with several other additional charges. Carla's sister, Jacqueline Garcia, was also arrested and charged with Connecticut General Statute 53-20, cruelty to persons under 19 years of age, along with other related charges. Jonathan Nanita, Carla's boyfriend, has an active arrest warrant, which is also charging him with 53A-54B murder with special circumstances, amongst other charges. Additionally, the New Britain Police Department also has obtained an arrest warrant charging Jonathan with 53A-155 tampering with physical evidence for actions taken leading up to the initial police response to 80 Clark Street and the subsequent discovery in the rear yard.
Oh my God.
A complete list of charges for each of the individuals will be made available at the end of the remarks. But out of respect for all those affected and to ensure the integrity, like Chief Marino had said, of the ongoing investigation, we will not be releasing further details at this time. This case is a deeply heartbreaking and disturbing case. Our detectives, with our local and state partners, have worked tirelessly to uncover the truth and to bring justice for Jacqueline. No child should ever have to endure such suffering. On behalf of the New Britain and Farmington Police Departments, we extend our deepest condolences to all who have been affected by this tragedy.
Thank you, Chief. Today is about providing the facts that we have available from here. The court system will take it and prosecute to the highest extent of the law. I'd like to again send our deepest condolences to the family and friends of Jacqueline Torres, and I would like to open it up for questions now.
I am so pissed off. It's like, wait a minute. So the mother had custody. If she didn't want this child, and there's so many things that are running in my head, I could be completely wrong about this whole scenario, right? Please note that I could be wrong. She could have gotten tired of the child. She could have just said, you know what? I can't take care of this child. Just go with your dad. She could have sent this child to her father. She could have given this child up to CPS. She could have done all kinds of things, right? And I'm also wondering about this effing boyfriend. Like, what? And then you have this auntie who is named out, it sounds like she's Jacqueline too. What is going on to have a child and dispose this child this way? And not only that, why didn't the child's father say anything? I told you guys, I go very hard on this. People say, well, you never know. Don't judge this. Maybe he didn't want her to have contact. You're involved with the court. Petition the effing court so that you can see your child more than just one time a year. Petition the damn court. That's what they're there for. What are you doing? I hate that excuse. She didn't want me to see it. She didn't want me to see the child. No. No.
Tell us the bonds on the individuals
$5 million.
for 2 already, and
So Carla Garcia is a $5 million bond. Jacqueline Garcia is a $1 million bond. And we have yet to pick up, and we are asking for the public's assistance in locating Jonathan. And he does have a $5 million bond on his also.
Are they both expected in court tomorrow?
Yes.
Chief, can you talk anything about motive, anything along those lines at all? What happened here?
Yeah. Go ahead.
I think, much like Chief Melanson had said, it's important at this point to leave out some of those major details involved in this case in order to allow for the entire investigation to play itself out.
Had there been any reports that she'd been missing? Had anybody raised concerns, either from school districts or anybody, about where she'd been for months?
Yeah, answer that. Why?
Can you share?
Just because a child is homeschooled doesn't mean that the district, the school district, that doesn't mean that's not a get out of checking in to see if the child is meeting their educational expectations card. Get the fuck out of here. This pisses me off.
Can you share anything about the history of any of the people involved as far as their criminal history or any prior interactions with law enforcement?
Yeah, we don't have many details at this time. I know that there are reports that have been circling involving some of their criminal histories. We do have limited involvement with each of the people that are involved. Some of it dates back a couple years, some more recent. I can tell you that the most recent interaction we have was a simple motor vehicle stop that resulted in an infraction, but there was not much more than that.
Can you tell us if DCF, do you know if DCF was called prior to any of this? Do they have a case with them?
Would you like to tell me?
I know you can't give
My
details, but does
goodness.
DCF, do they have a case prior?
Yep.
They do.
DCF was involved.
Look at that.
Prior to this going on, they had involvement with the family.
Yes.
Say more.
Probably the sister, and we could talk about this.
As far as this investigation is concerned, there's no other reports involving any of the other children that are involved.
Are any other children safe, from this family?
Yeah, during our
Wait, what?
investigation, contact was made and all of the other children were determined to be safe.
So why was this
Can
child
one of the
picked
chiefs
on?
talk
Hold
about
up.
the toll this takes on
I need to
men and
ask.
women?
Hold up. Let me go back a little bit. Let me see.
Are any other children safe, from this family?
Yeah, during our investigation, contact was made and all of the other children were determined to be safe.
Can one of the chiefs talk about the toll this takes on the men and women dealing with this kind of a case and what you found?
So, I mean, obviously, we handle many types of crimes in our line of work. The ones with kids are probably the most difficult, and obviously, the people standing behind me have been working since this call came in nonstop, 24/7. So it takes a toll mentally, physically, and it's very difficult for us to contemplate how this can happen in a civilized society like ours. So 35
God.
years, this is probably one of
Here's the deal, though. I do wonder about this. You said the DCF worker was a friend of the mother. She knew about the abuse. Well, I hope she gets charged too. I hope that CPS worker gets charged too. Why the hell not? Because why wouldn't you report it? Or why wouldn't you say something like, if you in the system, you work for the system, and you're not reporting it? Get the hell out of here, man. Scapegoat kid of the family. And that's what I was wondering. Did they have other children together? And so they made the 12-year-old feel some type of way and abuse the 12-year-old? Because that wouldn't be, that wouldn't surprise me. There is this thing where people get into new relationships and then they throw away the children that they had with the other relationship as if people were disposable that way. And it happens more often than people know. Okay. And I hate to put it this way, but a lot of the women's do it. They choose the men and the children that they have together over the other children. Yeah, it happens. They play favorites.
one of the worst cases that we've had to, I think the facts that you have, that she probably died a long time ago and was stowed away is probably enough to show you what we are dealing with here. So yes, very, very difficult on everybody handling these cases.
Has the report come back from the medical examiner's office in terms of cause and manner?
No, so we currently have just a verbal right now, but obviously any official report will wait for toxicology results and other sorts of things. So we won't have any reports from the medical examiner for a short period of time other than their verbal report to the detectives. And I won't get too far into it. We have sealed the warrants because we are asking anybody who has any other information. People have called since this has been publicized, and we're really asking for anybody else who has any information to come forward and contact either the New Britain or Farmington Police Department, whoever you're comfortable contacting. We are working hand in hand, and everybody had said it. You know, our goal from the start of this was to bring justice for whoever murdered Jacqueline, and that's what we think that we have started to do last night by taking 2 into custody. But this doesn't end here, right? Like any investigation like this, this will go on and on for the days, months, and actually years to come.
The thing is there's so many, okay, like I get where the department is coming from with this. Like, you know, but there are other things that have to take into account here, right? Marissa Monroe, that is the question that I have. There are a lot of people that have shared custody and, you know, they go through court, but my goodness, if your, you know, ex isn't letting you see your child and it's been over a year, then what is the excuse? What are you doing? As if you can't petition the court to figure it out. They already were involved with the court. What are you doing? Why would you be sitting there and say, well, the last time I saw my child was when she was 12, when she turned 12 years old, a year ago? What do you mean? What do you mean that's the last time you saw her? Like, what are you talking about?
So we will still continue to look up any lead that we can. But we really do need anybody who has any information about this to please contact one of the police departments, which is why we do not want to release too many details because we are looking for people to come forward who have some firsthand information on it.
I know you're working on the time. Do we know exactly when was the girl brought to this abandoned location, or if that could be said?
No, not specifically. We do have, like the mayor touched on, the initial caller that called in. Those are circumstances and details that are a part of the overall investigation. Again, we thank that caller for coming forward. It took a lot of courage to do that based on what we've learned since our initial response. But like Chief Melanson has said, a lot of those finer details are going to remain with the case while the court process plays itself out.
Are you able to clarify who allegedly killed her and who then allegedly moved the body then to New Britain?
So if you look at the charges, you will see that both Carla and Jonathan were both charged with murder and conspiracy to commit murder. So I think that speaks for itself.
I mean, I know you said Jonathan Bonita, can we have that spelled out since we want to make that call out to the public?
Yeah, and I will give you afterwards, there's some copies of a press release which have actually the mugshots, the charges for the 2 who were arrested, and also the charges for Jonathan and his descriptors. But it's Jonatan, and the last name is Nanita.
This is giving Gabriel Fernandez all over again, man. This is put it one in the chat if you know what I'm talking about. This is giving Gabriel Fernandez all over again. This whole thing. CPS involvement, family knew, didn't say shit. This child's being abused, being put in cabinets, you know, being starved to death. This is crazy, man. This is crazy.
Does anyone know when the last time she was seen or at school?
Why doesn't he just stay at the
very
podium?
Careful with where we go with that.
This is so annoying. Just stay at the damn podium. I'm sorry, guys. This is why I can't cover these kinds of cases, because I'd be getting mad. Just stay at the podium, sir.
I'm going to be very careful with where we go with that. That's a part of a large part of the investigation. There's been some information that's come forward between being removed from one school and entering another, to being homeschooled. So I don't have the absolute specifics on that, but a lot of those finer details have come from the investigative steps taken by the men and women behind me and are a part of both affidavits that were presented to the state's attorney's office and the judge.
So at some point, somebody indicated they were homeschooling.
Okay, hold up. Let me East Girl says, first off, the father is in a relationship and they were both trying to fight for her. I don't care if he was in the relationship. And no shade, but I'm Eastern girls. I'm being serious. I do not care. If the last time that he saw her was when was her birthday, which was last year or whatever time frame that was, you mean to tell me their court involved he couldn't petition the court? I don't care. I don't care that he was I don't care if he had kids with another person. I don't. And they were both trying to fight for her. How? You petitioned the court? When? Because if they had concerns about her safety, you know what he could have said to the court? I haven't seen my child. I don't even know if she's okay. She's missing and she's not bringing her to court. And then guess what? They would make her bring the children to court, right? So for me, it's like, I'm not going to sit here and make excuses. Let me be very clear, guys. I am very black and white when it comes to situations like that, because I've seen it time and time again. You're either involved in their life, whether you're with the partner or not, or you're not. And that's fine. Pay your little child support, but don't act like the distraught parent now that your child is gone. That's my point here.
This child. Now, you also mentioned in March of 2025, the family moved, so the remains were moved. Where did they move to? Do we know what town?
Again, that's also a part of this large-scale investigation that we'd like to keep those details a part of the affidavits. Again, touching on what Chief Melanson touched on, paying attention to the charges and the additional arrest warrant that we have for Jonathan Nanita. He was charged with tampering with evidence, which involves a large part of what you were asking.
You did say two were arrested yesterday. What was the state of the mom? Was she surprised when she found? Was she?
Both were taken into custody without incident. There were additional interviews that took place, and then they were turned over to the Farmington Police Department, and they are expected in court tomorrow.
Which court? This court? Here or Hartford?
Litchfield.
Litchfield.
Litchfield, too.
So recently, as of October 1st, Farmington.
I mean, they keep going back and just stay at the damn podium. They go back and forth. Both. So they were court involved. And thank you, Evil Queen. If they're already court involved, it's very hard to alienate you unless you take the child out of state or out of the country. This is a very serious thing. Once, if she had full custody of this child, which means in my mind, if I hear somebody say that, there's court involvement to figure that out, right? This right here is a huge thing. So let's be very clear. It's a bunch of people that are at fault here, not just CPS,
Has fallen under the Litchfield Court District. So that's why we said we were working with the New Britain, obviously for what had transpired here. And previously we had been a part of the Hartford Judicial District, and now as of October 1st, we're a part of Litchfield Judicial District. So that's why we have been working with them, and they will be presented tomorrow morning, the two that we have arrested. So Litchfield.
Can you just clarify the suspicious activity that took place last week that was reported? Did that involve any of the suspects, or was that something else?
That involved the behavior that was witnessed in the rear property of 80 Clark Street. Again, more of the details have come out over the course of each investigation playing out with everybody involved. But the initial reports were that someone was in the rear of the property dropping off items to include that storage bin.
Was there any sort? We know she probably had physical abuse, malnutrition. Was there any sort of mutilation or anything to the body?
Oh man, that's a tough question.
Not that we're aware of, no.
Whew.
Lisa, just to answer the question you had about the school, just more directly, the last known registered schooling that she had was homeschool.
It really was.
Thank you.
And that's the system right there. If she was homeschooled, why wasn't there any follow-up? That's what I want to know. Homeschool doesn't mean that somehow the district doesn't follow up with you at all. This is ridiculous.
Any kind of reason so far as why this property in particular was chosen to discard the remains?
Abandoned. There's no connection. The property was no connection. We presume that just, it was a known abandoned property in the neighborhood. And the property owner is an absentee landlord from New York.
So the implication here is that he was dropping off this container the other day and somebody reported it?
Crazy work. They were trying to hide her. They were trying to, I mean, nobody was keeping tabs on her. Like I said, it's a whole Gabriel Fernandez situation all over again. That's what it is. They were trying to hide her. Okay.
Any other questions? Thank you all.
That's the question. I wonder where her dad lives. Some states or not. Yeah, apparently he's out of, that's what I heard, that he was out of state. I was 13 years old and found out 2 kids in school were given rugs by their parents. It was so uncomfortable at that age, but I went directly to the school administrator to report it, what I had seen, says Donnelly. Gotcha. Yeah, the homeschool is not the excuse for the district or CPS for that matter to say, you know, I'm washing my hands off of this situation. No, it's not. Not at all. So, that's just my opinion on that. And I do, guys, I'm serious when I say this. It's like, you cannot, if you're sharing custody, because I know some dads and I know some moms, right? And this is the piece where parent alienation is a real thing. But once you're court involved, you need to report that alienation, especially if, like, you're not being given your child at a time that you guys selected to be seen, if you're involved. But what that tells me is, how do you go this song without even petitioning the court? How do you go this song without even the court? Like, I don't get this. I don't get this. I'm sorry. You don't get to say, well, you know, I didn't know, you know, I report, unless he reported it to the police and said, I asked the police to help me. I filed the court petitions on this day and this day and this day, and nothing came about. Then we got a bigger problem, right? Then we got to talk about the court system. But I don't get this. I don't get this at all. The mother had been making excuses on where Mimi was. Well, they found them in Hartford, followed them to the New Britain, and got police involved. How long, Mary, how long did it take them, though? He's literally saying he hasn't seen her since last year in the birthday, and he got DCS involved? I don't know. I don't know. You said this reminds me of Harmony. Yeah, I know the schools here in Wisconsin. The child is homeschooled and they have to go into the school for 1 day every 2 weeks. Yeah, homeschool isn't the excuse. It just isn't. At all. But yeah, in New York, they keep track of the homeschool kids. They got to. Mimi's father was involved with DCF trying to get her back. I hope so. I guess we'll have to see. But I'm telling you, you go a year without seeing your child and you ain't raising hell, and you're supposed to believe, and what are you supposed to sit there? No. I've seen it all, y'all. I'm just telling you. I don't know how much of this I am buying. I'm just letting y'all know, I'm being very honest. You guys, I've seen it all. That's what I got to say about that. And so I do get fired up about cases like that. And this is why I don't really cover cases like that, because I'm like, this is ridiculous. And why aren't people doing something about it? And the fact that they dispose of her like a piece of trash, like, were they playing favorites with their kids or what's going on? People need to get fired up about this. And I don't make excuses for the parents. I really don't. The mother has a long history of abuse and mimic. Well, why does she have custody? Why DFS awarded her to the mothers beyond me? This happened all in my hometown. Why did Mary, shout out to Mary, why was she awarded custody? And what did the father do about this? And why did it take a year, or if not more, it sounds like? I'm just not buying it. I don't know, man. See, when was the last time you spoke to her? Not if I'm sharing custody with you, love. I don't care if he has a new family. I'm just letting y'all know. It's an excuse. No. We gonna see each other, if not once, twice a week, whatever it may be. I may not be in that relationship anymore. I may not stand your mother, your father, but I'm gonna see my child. I'm gonna see my seed. Okay? I'm not gonna depend on that person anymore, because for whatever reason it's done. Right? We can't always trust. We can't. We have to be able to you have to be productive of your own. And I'm sorry. I'm not making excuses. I'm sorry. I've seen it all. Trust me to say that. Thank you. The new family excuse is wild to me. Absolutely. Oh, I got new kids. I gotta, I can't recognize that seat over there. Crazy work. Crazy work.
Developing news in New Britain, a family has identified a set of human remains.
Thank you. It's a great point. Flor, not even FaceTime? Not even a freaking FaceTime? No. Thank you. I'm buying zero of their excuses. Prolonged malnutrition isn't an accident. I hope the judge denies any instruction on mental health defense. Absolutely. Girl, what'd you draw? Baby Buddy was in the other room with the sitter. Thank you. No, I don't want it there. Thank you. This incredible art. Thank you for the art. Art is everywhere. Art is in the walls. Art is everywhere.
Discovered this week as a 12-year-old girl. Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us here on Eyewitness News. I'm Caitlin Nuclo. We want to get right to that developing news. That young girl's remains were found in a container on Wednesday outside of an abandoned home on Clark Street. And that's where we find your reporter, Dylan Fearon, live. So, Dylan, what have you learned?
Well, Caitlin, the victim is 12-year-old Jacqueline Torres. Her father confirmed that to Channel 3 this morning. And Jacqueline's father told us today that he hadn't seen or spoken to his daughter since at least January 29th, which was Jacqueline's 12th birthday. So her father told us this morning that he's tried to get a hold of her, tried to speak to her, tried to see her, but hadn't since at least January. So her father fears that Jacqueline may have been dead potentially for several months. Now, of course, police will have to confirm that, but investigators are working around the clock to piece everything together to determine a timeline leading up to Wednesday's discovery. Right now, the memorial outside the abandoned home where Jacqueline's remains were found is growing, and of course, neighbors and friends are shocked right now.
Because this was a small child. You don't do that to a child that's coming into this life and learning. Who knows if he's going to be a lawyer or a president? You know, you don't know what this child had in mind. Why take her life away like that? And then throw her away like you're garbage. You're not worth a dime.
That's right.
No, you don't do that to a human being.
And Caitlin, some more friends and family here right now playing music. Jacqueline's nickname was Mimi. You can see written on one of the wooden boards here, R.I.P. Mimi. Tio loves you. Her uncle loves her. Caitlin, right now we are waiting to hear back from the medical examiner's office as an autopsy on Jacqueline's remains.
Like I said, it's parent alienation is real. But if she had custody and it was already settled, then why did he petition the court? I'm just saying that. Okay, I'm gonna stand on that. That's her dad on the picture. That's right. My house is the same. Grandchildren, pictures everywhere. That's what I'm gonna say. You said if she passed in the fall of 2024, he couldn't have seen her in January 25th. So that's a lie. That's the question that I had. Did he see her January of last year or January of this year? If she passed that was the question that I had, Lisa, actually. And I was like, well, we don't have enough information. But if she passed, they believe that she passed the fall of 2024. How did he see her in January? The timeline is confusing. So if he saw, I'm thinking that was last year, that he saw her January for her 12th birthday, that he hadn't seen her since. And then if that's the case, then that would make even this whole thing even more like crazy work to me. So how does he see her in January, but they believe that she passed in fall of last year? Yes, but do you guys understand the timeline is off? Put a 1 in the chat if you know what I'm saying. How do you see your child on her birthday? When in her birthday, if they believe that she passed in the fall of 2024? That would have been a year ago. This because it's the fall now. Let me know. Or is that not right? That's what I heard. Hold up. We can go back. Because I'm letting it play.
And Jacqueline's father told us today that he hadn't seen or spoken to his daughter since at least January 29th, which was Jacqueline's 12th birthday. So
January 29th was her 12th birthday, but they believe that she died in the fall of 2024. Something's off about the timeline. We can go back to the press conference because that's the biggest red flag I'd say, right?
Her father told us this morning that he's tried to get a hold of her, tried to speak to her, tried to see her, but hadn't since at least January. So her father fears that Jacqueline may have been dead potentially for several months. Now, of course, police will have to confirm that, but investigators are working around the clock to piece everything together to determine a timeline leading up to Wednesday's discovery. Right now, the memorial outside the abandoned home where Jacqueline's remains were found is growing.
Yeah,
and of course, neighbors and friends are shocked right now.
Because this was a small child. You don't do that to a child that's coming into this life and learning. Who knows?
Hold up, guys. Here it is. Look, it's at the press conference. 5 minutes and 33 seconds. Let's go right here.
From the New Britain Police Department have determined that Jacqueline likely died in the fall of 2024 while her family was still residing in Farmington.
In the fall of 2024. So did he see her January of last year or January of this year? Which one is it? He said he was led to believe that she was still alive. And they had been searching for her months. Finally found her and chased him to New Britain. It's not happening, man. That's so weird to me. I just drove to Connecticut and the interstate 3 weeks ago on vacation. So what's the timeline? They said months after, so assume 2025. That has to be last year. That's crazy work, guys. And if CPS doesn't help you, but you have an open custody case with the court, guess what? You go to the court and you petition the court. You don't need CPS to petition the court, just so people are aware. You don't need CPS or DFS or whatever agency they're called. You could just go straight to the court. You know, you could just say, listen, I have not seen this child and I'm going to write a missing persons report and I'm doing this. If they don't produce this child, that's what you do. I've seen it done so many times. So the timeline is off, guys. I'm finding this timeline sketch. I'm just going to be honest. Dad probably doesn't even want the bad dad label, and that's what happened. I'm sorry. And I know some of you guys are from that area and everything. You're like, well, this is, you know, it was her fault. She took the, no, guys. When somebody shares custody, I'm telling you, I've seen it. I've seen parents advocate. You don't get to alienate me, and you're not only not going to alienate me, I'm going to go straight to the court and do what I have to do. And if I have to file a missing persons report for my child, I will, because she's being homeschooled. It's not like anybody has an eye on her. So you're trusting everything that the mama's saying? There's no FaceTime with you and her just to see if she's okay? I'm not buying it. I'm not. In my opinion, he's just as neglectful as, you know, and he just is. I'm sorry. Had to have been January 24th. She died in the fall 20. There you go. Almost a year ago, Cocos. Maybe that's what it was. Thank you. Or. I've seen people call missing persons report when their children aren't being returned. It's a thing. You know, we know what it looks like when we see dads fight for their children. I don't buy it either. Period, Rando gal. I'm sorry, man. I don't. I'm sorry. I don't. And I'm sure he's grieving, and I get that. But there probably could have been more here in this situation. Some things he's off. I have a child that my mom tries to keep me, and my mom tries to keep me away from my son, but I fight to see him through FaceTime or video games or something. Right, Sharon. And Sharon, thank you so much for the Cash App. I forgot to shout you out on when we celebrated. They do too much for revenge and kids, no respect for life, right? But many courts are on the take. When you go to the court and they do nothing, nobody can say they wouldn't do something. They don't know what is going on. Many people won't do anything. That's very true. Many people don't. But guess what? You file a police report. There's so much you can do. There's a lot you can do to shake the situation up. I've seen it. Okay. They are making it sound like last year he saw her and then talked to her last birthday. So possibly somebody presented to her on the phone. How? They believe she died in the fall of 2024. He just said it. I'm not putting words in his mouth. He literally just said it, guys. It's in the transcript. Let me put it up. Here it is.
Investigators from the Farmington Police Department, with the assistance from the New Britain Police Department, have determined that Jacqueline likely died in the fall of 2024 while her family was still residing in Farmington.
How is that possible? How did then the dad last see her on, unless it's the January of last year? How is this possible? How? Because this is what he said here.
So her father told us this morning that he's tried to get a hold of her, tried to speak to her, tried to see her, but hadn't since at least January. So her father fears that Jacqueline may have been.
How did he talk to her in January if she might have died in the fall? Mm-hmm. Do you think they put the girl on the phone pretending to be her? I don't know. Was it a FaceTime? That's crazy, guys. We're in FaceTime era. You know, back in the day when we used to be like, you know, phones are going to be able to have cameras. Back when we didn't even have cell phones. Yet you could FaceTime. People do this all the time. This is crazy. I don't know. A father can call the cops and ask for his welfare check, even if the mom has full custody, right? And I can file a missing persons report, right? That's right. That's, I'm not believing it. I don't know, man. Text. You said Mint saw her in January 2024 and talked to her this January and had someone pretend to be her. I don't know, guys, but I'm not filling in the blanks for him. You know what I mean? That it's like, okay. Yeah, and I'm sure, like I said, this is a very tragic. I just feel like, I told you guys, I've seen too many cases where people allow this to be the excuse of like, well, you know, she's got full custody, so I can completely disengage. No, my friend. No, my friend, you cannot. No, you cannot.
And Caitlin, some more friends and family here right now playing music. Jacqueline's nickname was Mimi. You can see written on one of the wooden boards there, R.I.P. Mimi. Tio loves you. Her uncle loves her. Caitlin, right now we are waiting to hear back from the medical examiner's office as an autopsy on Jacqueline's remains are being conducted. We're also waiting for an update from the New Britain Police Department to see if an arrest or potentially multiple arrests in this case are made. We'll keep everybody updated on air and, of course, on the Channel 3 app. I'm your reporter live in New Britain today, Dylan Fear in Channel 3 Eyewitness News.
All right, Dylan, thank you. We'll keep following that closely.
So it looks like the boyfriend, I guess, is in custody, and I'm trying to find out, did they have a press conference for that, or what did they do exactly for this? Hold up, y'all. Let me see if I can pull some information. See, that was 14 hours ago. Hold up. Let's see. Now, these are the grandparents. Okay.
She was everything from me.
The grandfather of a 12-year-old girl shares his memories of her as police charge 3 people in her death. Thanks for joining us tonight for the news at 11. I'm Keisha Grant. Tonight, police say the mother of that little girl, the mother's boyfriend, and the girl's aunt all played a role in her death. They're all behind bars tonight.
Now, yes, Texas, Annie, thank you so much. And Pooh, thank you for the heads up. You guys are amazing. You guys have been following this. Thank you. Is it Nixie? Thank you so much for gifting 5 memberships. If you guys have been blessed, and I haven't shouted everybody out, like KJ, I need to shout you out too. And James, thank you guys so much for candy for Mr. Rabbit. Thank you, y'all. Y'all, I get fired up. Like, I'm telling you, some of that is things that I've seen, things that I have dealt with, things that, this fired up is how I would get with people or professionals in a case or whatever. Like, this is me in a social worker hat. I'm just letting y'all know. So I do apologize. I'm all over the place. But KJ, thank you so much for being a member for 10 months. I love when you're such a grace mix. The F-bombs is a little bit of F. I'm trying to watch it, okay? Luckily, Baby Bunny goes in the other room and she don't really hear everything. So there's that. Nixie, thank you so much for gifting 5 memberships. Thank you, love. Thank you. Let me hit play on this, okay?
About an hour ago, police announced the boyfriend was taken into custody. Investigators say while the remains of 12-year-old Jacqueline Torres Garcia were found last week, she likely died last fall. NBC Connecticut's Jeremy Chen has been following the new developments in this case and joins us now live in New Britain with the very latest. Jeremy.
Right.
Yeah, Keisha, within the last hour, we have learned that the mother's boyfriend, Jonathan Nadnia, has been actually arrested by New Britain police. We are told this just again within the last hour. Details still remain unclear as to the circumstances of the arrest, but he has been arrested after being at large for much of the day. And this also comes as this case cuts deep for two communities, and police are still trying to work hard and figure out why this young girl was killed.
She was my love. She was everything for me.
It's been a hard few days for Felix Osorio, standing over a large memorial for his 12-year-old granddaughter,
crazy, man.
Jacqueline Torres Garcia in New Britain, who family members called Mimi. Candles, balloons, and flowers lined the front of a Clark Street property where police say the girl's decomposing remains.
You know, let me ask you guys a question in the chat. And I know some of you guys, everybody's got a different like life story, right? I could tell you by experience, I can't just go missing or take my kids and not have people see my kids and my family. Does that make sense? Is that the same for you guys, or do you guys not have like close? Because I say this, if my kids, my parents, or even anybody, right? They don't see my children for so long. You better believe they're going to do something about it, because that's how involved they are. And David says January of last year would have been her 11th birthday, and they say they saw her under 12, so it doesn't make sense, right, David? So I do have to wonder, like, does it make sense? Sometimes parents aren't close. Maybe they don't have people checking up on people. You know what I mean? But if I'm a grandmother, and if I don't see my granddaughter every day, I would be calling the police, and she's 23. You know, so I do wonder. I'm like, well, no, nobody saw nothing. Okay, all right then. Okay.
Were found inside a plastic bin last week.
She was happy all the time, real happy. She liked to play.
Britain and Farmington police say the girl's mother, Carla Garcia, and her aunt, Jacqueline Garcia, were arrested Sunday. Officers found and arrested the mother's boyfriend, Jonathan Nanita, the next day.
And I can say that now our goal has always been to seek justice for Jacqueline Torres.
Police say Jacqueline lived with her family in Farmington and believe she died there in the fall of last year, with the remains taken to New Britain. Investigators say they believe she was physically abused and malnourished. The mother and boyfriend are facing murder charges, and the aunt is facing a child cruelty charge.
My
Farmington
goodness.
Police saying it's one of the worst cases they've ever seen.
Takes a toll mentally, physically, and it's very difficult for us to contemplate how this can happen in a civilized society like ours.
Osorio says he hasn't physically seen his granddaughter in 2 years, and that the mother would always make excuses to his son, the father, about why his granddaughter couldn't FaceTime him.
So now we get in a timeline. If the granddad hadn't seen the child in 2 years, was that the same for the father? Because like I said, they're throwing different timelines. I don't know how I feel about them.
The father about why his granddaughter couldn't FaceTime him.
He was thinking all the time that Mimi just don't want to see him, and he don't want to like to push her.
Only God is helping me. God is helping me to pass this process. I've been with her forever, and I'm always going to be here.
He says the focus now turns to justice, seeing the strength of community support at the memorial. And the State Department of Children and Family says it is reviewing its involvement with the girl's family, and also says Jacqueline's siblings are safe and are in police custody. Now, the mother and the aunt are expected in court tomorrow morning. It's unclear whether the boyfriend will be joining them in court as well. Keisha?
Well, Jeremy, you mentioned this little girl lived with her family in Farmington. Has the school district commented on whether she went to school in town?
Homeschooled.
Well, Keisha, we did reach out to the Farmington School District. They say that they're sending their condolences to the family, but that Jacqueline never attended Farmington schools. From what they understand, they were told she was homeschooled.
Jeremy Chen joining us live there in New Britain with the very latest.
And that's where they dropped the ball. They're like, well, they're homeschooled. We could just not engage and not check on the kids, not make sure that they're meeting their educational needs. Like, that's ridiculous, guys. And it's a piss poor excuse, honestly. And that's why I get so fired up about this. 3-faced judge in case of murdered 12-year-old girl. So there's, the Shrekley looking woman over here. I cannot.
Check this out.
I cannot.
In just a sec, I'm going to speak with a different accent. And just between you and me, I don't really know how. But okay. First, let's change it up.
This ad.
Now, Channel 3 Eyewitness News begins with breaking news.
Thanks
Thanks for joining us on Eyewitness News at noon. I'm Kara Sundlin, and we want to begin with the breaking news of 3 suspects, including the mother of a daughter who is 12 years old, who's accused of murdering her daughter. They've all just appeared in court for the first time. Your reporter Taylor Knight is live in Torrington. Taylor, what is the latest in this disturbing case?
Jacqueline Torres' mom, her aunt, and her mother's boyfriend were just in court moments ago. The little girl's family packed that courtroom. Some of them were unable to control their emotions. They had outbursts. Some were removed from the courtroom during the proceedings here. The little girl's mother, Kayla Garcia, and her boyfriend, Jonathan Nanita, that is, have both been charged with murder. The judge set bail at $5 million for both. Kayla came into the courtroom today sobbing before the judge. Jacqueline Garcia, the aunt, is charged with child cruelty. Her bond.
Why are you crying now? That's what I don't get. Why are these people crying now? Why are you crying now? You only crying because you got in trouble and you got caught. This is what they're crying about. I cannot. I don't give a shit that they're sobbing. That's the last thing I want to hear a reporter say.
Was set at $1 million. This all began last Wednesday when New Britain police say that they received an anonymous tip about suspicious activity going on in the backyard of an abandoned home on Clark Street. That's where officers found Jacqueline's remains in a plastic container, but police believe she was killed more than a year ago when she was living in Farmington. Investigators say that she suffered prolonged abuse and malnourishment before her death. The Garcia sisters and Anita are expected to be back in court here in Torrington on November 14th. We will have continuing coverage of everything that happened inside that courtroom today on Channel 3 starting at 4, as well as online at WFSB.com. Your reporter live in Torrington, Taylor Knight, Channel 3 Eyewitness News.
All right, Taylor.
We're going to try to get those court documents and arresting affidavits and stuff like that so we can keep following this case. But like I said, guys, I get very passionate about cases like this because it's like, it just makes me mad. There's no reason. There is no, I don't understand. I don't understand. And it just seems like a bunch of excuses when it comes to situations like this. I hate it. I really do. I do. Okay. We have to move on. I hate transitioning this way. I really do. But we do have to talk about Ellen Greenberg. Okay. Now, put a 1 in the chat if you guys are familiar with the Ellen Greenberg case. Please put a 1 in the chat if you're familiar with the Ellen Greenberg case. I'm trying to figure out how much to kind of, I could give you a little short of it. Some of you guys are familiar. Okay. Yes. Hold up. Okay, perfect. All right. Thank you. So, some of you guys may not be familiar. It's like me again, put a 2. Okay. So Ellen Greenberg, is a case that is often, I think, most debated on the internet. There's a lot of mystery surrounding her death of a woman. She was 27 at the time. And she was a first grade teacher in Philadelphia. She got engaged to this guy by the name of Sam Goldberg, who was like a TV producer. And at the time of her death, they lived together in this apartment in Philadelphia. So on the day of her death, there was like this snowstorm was supposed to hit. And Ellen left school early because of the weather. Well, around 6, if I remember the timeline correctly, it was like 6:40 p.m. Her fiance, Sam, returned to their locked apartment after going to the gym. He said he found the door locked from the inside with the swing bar locked, like engaged. It was like a swing bar. And no response, he forced the door open. Inside, he found Ellen slumped against the kitchen, like in the cabinets. She had been stabbed 20 times. 10 of the wounds were in the back of her neck and 10 to her chest and stomach. The knife was embedded to like the heart, okay, to the chest. And there was no signs of force entry, no robbery, no struggles or anything like that, okay? Now, when police got to the crime scene, they initially treated this like a homicide, okay? 27-year-old, young woman, teacher, like, what's going on, right? Happy to be engaged for the most part. It was revealed that she might have had maybe some mental health issues, but nothing to the extent where she wanted to like completely off herself. Okay, I'm just letting you guys know. So when the police treated the death as a homicide initially, right? Because of the stab wounds and everything. The Philadelphia medical examiner, whose name is Dr. Marlon Osbourne, initially ruled it a homicide. But then weeks later, the police kind of got involved. Well, they were involved, but they were investigating, and then they changed her death to a suicide. So you have a woman with 20 stab wounds, including deep wounds in the back of her neck and her spine and everything, that are inconsistent with, unaliving of self, a self-deletion, right? They're inconsistent of that. Because if you do any research on people who decide to self-delete, you don't typically find 20 stab wounds, on self and everything, right? Bruises were found on Ellen's arms and legs and abdomen, different healing stages, suggesting that there was probably that Ellen was probably being abused. Okay. Now hold up. Let me pull this up because I want to show you guys the 911 call. It's very telling. Okay. Now let's keep going. So no defense wounds were found, but some experts argue that this doesn't rule out homicide if she was incapacitated. The door was locked and it raised questions, but experts noticed that the swing bar lock could have been engaged later or on the scene could have been staged. Her computer and her phone showed nothing regarding self-deletion or anything like that, or any kind of indication of self-harm. She had recently began taking like Zoloft because of anxiety, which, I mean, that's pretty, I would say, like, 27, you're starting a new job, you're not around your hometown, whatever it may be, you're in a relationship. I would say that that's not like an indication that you're going to self-harm. If anything, that there might be some, anxiety stuff going on. That's fairly normal and typical, right? Okay. So, hold up, guys. Hold up. Okay. Sorry about that. Let's see. Where did I leave off at? So, there was nothing. She was taking Zoloft, kind of regular, medication. Most people take Zoloft. So, let's keep going. Her parents, after the death and everything, and especially after this 911 call, which I'm like, how do you, this 911 call, says everything about Sam Goldberg. Okay, let's listen to it. And you guys, if you've never heard it, put a 1 in the chat. If you've never heard this 911 call, put a 1 in the chat, because this 911 call was like, what the hell?
Help! I need a emergency now. I just walked to my apartment. My fiance's on the floor with blood everywhere.
What is the address?
4601 Flat Rock Road. Please come help now.
4601
Flat Rock Road.
Is this a house or apartment?
Oh no! Oh no! It's an apartment. Please hurry, please.
Where is she bleeding from?
I don't know. I can't tell.
No, sir, you have to calm yourself down in order to get you some help.
I'm sorry. I don't know. I'm looking at her right now. I can't see anything. There's nothing broken. She's bleeding. Ellie!
You don't know where she's bleeding from? Can't see where the blood's coming from?
I think her head. I think she hit her head, I think. But it's everywhere.
Okay, sir,
it's everywhere.
Think she might have fallen? Do you know what happened?
She may have slipped. There's blood on the table. Her face is a little purple.
Okay, hold on for rescue for her. Stay on the phone. What's wrong?
I went downstairs to go work out. I came back up. The door was latched. My fiance's inside. She wasn't answering. So after about a half hour, I decided to break it down. I see her now just on the floor with blood. She's not responding.
Okay, is she breathing? Look at her chest. I need you to calm down, and I need you to look at her chest. It's really.
I don't think she. I really don't think she is.
Listen to me. Someone's on the way. Look at her chest. Is she flat on her back?
She's on her back. So I
Okay,
bring her.
look at her chest and tell me if it's going up and down, up and down.
I don't see her moving.
Okay, do you know how to do CPR?
I don't.
Okay, I can tell you what to do, okay, until they get there. I want you to keep her flat
Oh,
on her...
God.
Hello?
Yeah, hi, okay.
Are you willing to do CPR with me over the phone until they get there?
I have to, right?
Okay, so get her flat on her back, bare her chest, okay? You want to rip her shirt off. Okay? You need to kneel down by her side.
Oh, my God. Ellie, please.
Listen, you can't freak out, sir, because you
Okay, I'm trying not to. I'm trying not to. Her shirt won't come off. It's a zipper. Oh, my God. She stabbed herself.
Where?
She fell in a knife. Oh, no. Her knife's sticking out.
Her what?
There's a knife sticking out of her heart.
Oh, she stabbed herself?
I guess so. I don't know where she fell on it. I don't know.
Okay, well, don't touch it.
Okay, so I just let her down here now. I mean, what do I do?
No, I mean, you can't. If the knife is in her chest, it's going to be kind of hard for you to do CPR at this time.
Oh, no. Oh, my goodness. Okay.
Police, which operator? 277.
Is someone coming here?
Yes, they are. You said 4601 Flat Rock, right?
Yes.
Okay, someone's on the way. And the knife is still inside?
Wait, so what?
The knife is still inside of her?
Yes, I didn't take it out.
Was it her chest or what area?
It's in her chest. It looks like it's right in her heart.
Okay, someone's on the way out there. Okay, just get.
Oh my God! Oh my God! Okay,
How old is she?
She's 27.
27. And there's no sign of life at all?
No, please don't be. What?
Pinch her under her arm and tell me if she responds to pain.
She's Ellie. She's not. Her hands are still warm. I don't know if that means, but there's blood everywhere. I mean.
I know, but you can't, and the knife is still inside of her. How far? Can you see how far it went in?
It looks pretty deep.
Okay.
It looks it's a long knife.
Don't touch anything. Yeah, don't touch anything, okay?
I'm not touching anything. I can't believe this, though.
So wait, it was just you there with her?
We're the only ones here.
And she ran in the door, you said latched it shut?
No, I went downstairs to work out, and when I came back up, the door was latched. Like it was, it wasn't like it was, it was like locked from the inside, and I'm yelling, so I'm
was
yelling.
Your house
and
broken into?
No.
So there's no sign of a break-in?
No sign of a break-in at all. I mean, there will be when you get here, because I had to break the latch, but to get in.
Okay, 4601.
Boy, typical 911 call, right? She fell on the knife. I thought David's case was bad. This dude found way to one up all. Yeah, except he got away, in my opinion. I feel like he got away with it. In terms of this situation, he did. Okay, because they ruled it a suicide. I don't know how you ruled that a suicide. I don't. And Ellen's parents, here you go, my love. Thank you, my honey. Ellen's parents have been fighting for years. Her parents are Joshua and Sandy Greenberg, have fought for years to have the case reclassified as a homicide or undetermined. They filed civil lawsuits against the Philadelphia Medical Examiner's Office for refusing to change the death certificate. Independent experts were hired by the family, which is like including, forensic, pathologists, all these people. Conclude that the injuries were not consistent with an unalivement of self. Okay. Pennsylvania courts allowed parts of Greenberg's lawsuit to proceed, challenging the state's ruling. Now, they're supposed to go to court today, but the medical examiner's office is literally saying again in 2025 that Ellen self-deleted herself. Self-deleted. That they're standing on that. They're standing on that. They're not going to change it. They're standing on that. I don't know how. I don't know why. Because anybody would see that nobody in the back, in the neck, and everything. How does that happen? How does a person, it's unheard of. It's unheard of. Honestly. Right. You said, I know. How do you fall that many times on a knife? Didi, thank you so much for gifting 5 memberships, my love. Thank you, Didi. Really appreciate you, Dee. If you guys have been gifted, received any gifts, please put some hearts in the chat. Thanks, Dee and Nixie. Thank you, guys. Okay, hold up. I was trying to put the comment down. How's that possible? I don't know. So they did sue. There was two different lawsuits that they have out there. One on the doctor, on the medical examiners. And what was so crazy is that this is a cover-up, right? Somebody in Sam Goldberg's family works or wasn't a lawyer, an attorney, and they had meetings with the DA. And so basically he wasn't charged. Initially, they were thinking, thank you. And then there was this. They hired a crime scene girl. Hold up. Singing. They hired a crime scene cleaning people like the following day. I don't know if that was an accident or what, but like it was a crime scene cleaning crew. There's professional crime scene cleaners. I have a friend actually who worked in professional crime scene cleaning. So they would get called by like law enforcement and agencies and stuff like that to clean up crime scenes. They got rid of the evidence. And so there wasn't a whole lot that people could do, honestly, after that. I mean, it was kind of like they cleaned up the DNA. They cleaned up everything. I don't know. But how does that happen? How does that happen? This has been a case that has been ongoing. So they received news yesterday, and we're going to get into this right now because reclassifying something from a self-deletion to a homicide or undetermined does open the doors to more legal standing on holding the person that did this accountable. Okay. So just imagine they treated this as a crime scene. They treated it like anything else. They immediately determined that she basically did this to herself. How? I don't know.
Our top story, quite frankly, is hard to believe. We've been covering the quest of Ellen Greenberg's family and their search for justice. They contend that the 27-year-old's death by 20 stab wounds, some even to her back, was not a suicide. Now, after years of demanding the justice of the city of Philadelphia, city decided to take another look. And now, People magazine is exclusively reporting that they've received the Philadelphia Medical Examiner's report. The hearing is scheduled for today, so the public's going to learn all this today. But if you read People, you'll see
it's scheduled for today. They're supposed to find out about retesting or changing the determination. And they've determined, no, we're not going to change the determination. The medical examiner's office, I don't know how they won't. They won't.
That they learned that once again, the ME has ruled her death a suicide. This is just days ago. Her parents joined Joel Waldman on his podcast, Surviving the Survivor. Joel Waldman, of course, friend of the network. And take a listen to some of what Ellen Greenberg's father shared with Joel.
Oh, I'm not optimistic. No, I think the city's going to sit on this and do nothing if they can. I think there's going to really have to prod them and threaten them to do anything. Because if I was the city, I would just sit on this and do nothing because they are afraid of being sued. That's what this is all about from the city's viewpoint. If they give in to us, they're afraid they're going to get sued by others who have similar problems like us.
And by the way, there was a Hulu documentary. I watched it yesterday. It was the death of Ellen Greenberg, and the attorney right here is the attorney that represents the family. They filed 2 lawsuits against the city, one for the medical examiners, and then the other one for just the handling of the case. I recommend you guys watch it. It's on Hulu. It's like 3 episodes, but it leaves a lot of questions like unanswered to the situation.
So to me, if I was the city, I would just sit and keep my mouth shut and say no comment.
Court TV did reach out to the medical examiner's office, but they have not gotten back to us at this point in time. Later today, the Greenberg family and the city of Philadelphia are scheduled to go before the court. This is in Philadelphia Common Pleas Court. The judge is Linda Carpenter. They're expected to appear today for a hearing. And I suppose we find out what's next, if anything, after this. So what many of us want to know is how in the world did this medical examiner come to this conclusion again? Let's bring in our guests. Former homicide prosecutor who reinvestigated the case, Guy D'Andrea, is with us. So is board-certified forensic pathologist Dr. Priya Banerjee. And
I don't get it. I do not get it. How they went back to that determination. What did they review? What happened? And they said, well, because nobody stole anything from the apartment. Some shit like that. I was like, oh, okay. So she did this to herself because nobody stole anything from the apartment. Okay.
Private investigator, also retired member of our military and the NYPD, Manuel Gomez. Great to have you all here on this one. Guy, let me start with you here, please. As you are one of those people that arguably knows this case better than everybody. You've poured through the file. You've spoke to the Greenberg family time and time again. What's your reaction this morning, Guy?
Julie, it's absolutely sickening, especially when you dive into the rationale that was used to maintain this as a suicide. So they go back to the same talking points. The door was latched. There was no defensive wounds. Neither of that is true in the sense that the latch, which you know, can be done or undone from the outside, and the way that it was damaged proves that no one breached that door, meaning whatever the story was about how the fiance entered cannot be true, physically speaking. There were defensive wounds on her wrist. The medical examiner said no overturned items. That's not true. There were. And most shocking, the medical examiner didn't even bother to do any independent review of the spinal column. She just dismissed the findings of other neuropathologists who did the examination. This is shocking and absolutely appalling.
Guy, one of those forensic pathologists was world-renowned Dr. Cyril Wecht, as you well know, late great doctor who said it was strongly suspicious of homicide. Dr. Priya Banerjee, what do you say this morning to this?
Wow. I do want to say that there's always a caveat that if new information or new reasons come about to re-review a case, re-rule on a case, that can be done. But that drawing...
I've seen this medical examiner talk before and give commentary in court TV. I'm not a fan of her. I'm just letting y'all know. It's just something about her that just drives me crazy. I don't know. I can't put my finger on it. I think it was in the Alexi Treviso where I was like, what are you talking about? She was just all over the place.
That illustration that you just put really sums up a lot. Now, to me, it's, when we look at an autopsy, the order of wounds are sometimes hard to determine, but N and T are labeled here. This isn't my diagram. Very useful in that you can see that the spinal cord.
Look at that. Look at 20 stab wounds this way.
Cord is injured, or the spinal column at least, right? The bones are where the knife wounds are entering, and that's with force. That doesn't just slide right in, and that can potentially injure the spinal column, even shock it, if you will, okay? Sort of like a concussion of the spinal cord. That's going to render her unable to use her arms, the level that we're talking at, high up, okay? And the nerves for the arms come out below that. So she's effectively paralyzed, in my opinion, or that's what I'm most...
She would be paralyzed so much so that she wouldn't be able to do it to herself. Hey, Belen, how are you, my love? And Flor, right, same Robert, I don't like the Emmys energy. This Emmys commentator energy, I'm not a fan of. I don't know what it is. I don't see her doing this. And I guess physically it would be impossible for her to do it to herself.
Worried about here, then how would we explain the chest wound after with the knife left in her?
Excellent analysis, Dr. Priya. Thank you. Manuel Gomez, of course, I want to go to you about the crime scene, the evidence collection in this case. Would you weigh in on that, please?
Well, I find it shocking that, one, it's impossible for her to stab herself the way these pictures show. Two, all right, the judge should have stepped in. I mean, everybody in the world can see this woman did not stab herself 20 times as it shows in your diagram. And it shows the angles of the wounds. There's no way her arm could have reached that point. That's one. And then I think the judge had a crucial role in this case to state the obvious. She was murdered. How do you consider this a suspicious death. There's no way. This was a clear-cut murder, and this is one of the things that I'm talking about, that judges are not stepping up to the plate and doing what they need to do, and that we need to have some type of independent agency that can turn around and remove judges from the bench who don't proper act in the way the law is supposed to be.
Ooh, what do you guys think about what this guy is saying? Hold up. Hey, Tony, I hope you're doing well. I'm sorry. Oral surgery sucks. I'm so sorry. She had 10 healing. Yeah, she was healing from like bruising and stuff like that. So I do wonder. It seemed like that Helen is like, this is clear and cut, but clearly not. I just find it so weird to believe it. I don't know. And the ME doesn't want to be wrong, right? So they're going to stand on their thing, so now you guys, what happens next? They didn't change the ruling.
This case is an abomination to what justice is. This family is being robbed. She was murdered. And it's unfortunate we're labeling it as a suicide when clearly it's not.
I agree. I agree with all of the points that all three of you made here. I'm stunned. I had a feeling things might stall a bit today. I kind of thought, maybe they're going to say something like undetermined, reopen, still not advanced to the point of homicide, but at least that kind of gets us going in a direction of reinvestigation. Guy DeAndrea, let me go to you about something that's bothered me. I'm sure it's bothered you too. There were 2 clean knives in the sink in Ellen Greenberg's apartment. And yet, supposedly, it was this knife from a knife block on the counter that was knocked over. That was the one that she used over and over again to kill herself, if we believe what is being said at this point. There was a finding from this second medical examiner, as with the first, where they said, the fiance's DNA was not on the knife that was used to kill herself. My question is, how do we know that it was that knife in her hand? How do we know that one of those clean knives wasn't actually the one used and there was a swapping, maybe? Right. I don't know. Would you weigh in, Guy?
Yeah, like the knife, was it collected? Was it checked for DNA? What happened? It's crazy.
Absolutely. None of those knives in the sink were tested. And to be fair, I don't know what it would show because they were clearly washed, but here's the thing that bothers me with testing for just DNA on the knife and this over-reliance of Ellen's DNA. Of course, Ellen's DNA is going to be on the knife because her blood is on it. Now, we all know that if you don't have an injury and you're holding the handle of a knife, the odds of leaving your DNA, it can happen, but it is very, very low. I think the society generally thinks if you touch something, there's going to be DNA. That's just not true. Better analysis would have been a combination of a DNA testing as well as fingerprints, right? And that still may not have shown anything because all he would have had to have done, or anyone who did this would have had to have done, would be wipe off the knife. And so that over-reliance is of no moment to me, and it's obviously of no surprise that her DNA is on the knife because it is her DNA on the knife in the sense that it's her blood.
Guy, thank you for that. That's really, really insightful. Dr. Priya, let me go to you next, please. Something that I learned from Dr. Wecht is how forensic pathologists like yourself will correlate, findings that police gather at the scene with the findings at autopsy. And here we know one of the facts that is clearly in dispute now is whether she was actually locked in there by herself. I'm curious if someone brought you that fact and said she was alone without a doubt, how much does that influence your opinion on a case like this where we're seeing stab wounds to the back of her neck and the back of her head?
So I think we've talked before that I've had multiple cases where it is new.
The Sam Greenberg was, I think it was his uncle who's like a lawyer or something like that. And so shortly after this happened with Ellen, they had like a meeting or something, and so then he didn't get any charges. He didn't nothing happened with Sam whatsoever. I don't know how that happens. There was something to do with him being somehow connected to the DA's office or something like that allowed him to get away with this ish. I feel like he did, in my opinion.
Numerous stab wounds that are self-inflicted, okay? But I always start suspicious, if you will, right? And then you have to prove that it's not a homicide. And there is a category, as you mentioned, manner of death called undetermined, right? Which is things aren't adding up completely. And I think despite the fact that she would be alone, let's assume that, and they're showing the door hinge there, I think I would have a hard time stomaching suicide as was initially and then now ruled again. I think, you have to go with some common sense too, that, could it be I don't know the intricacies of locks and hinges. I just know the medicine and the angles, as my colleagues have said, the depths. I think it's just weird. And I would go at least undetermined, even if the investigation told me no way, no how. That's just my professional opinion.
Really appreciate that, Dr. Priya. Sam Goldberg, Ellen Greenberg's fiance, gave this statement to CNN saying, quote, "When Ellen took her own life, it left me be..."
Now, this statement is from like 20, this is an old statement. This is not a new statement. So it's not like he just gave a recent statement. This is fairly old.
She was a wonderful and kind person who had everything to live for. In the years that have passed, I've had to endure the pathetic and despicable attempts to desecrate my reputation by creating a narrative that embraces lies, distortions, and falsehoods.
He's a victim.
Again, not a suspect, never been a suspect, not charged. I want to be very clear on that. Manuel Gomez, if you could...
Yeah, he's not a suspect, never been charged, wasn't even charged, they didn't do shit to figure this out. Yeah, that's what it is. He's the victim in this situation. Guys,
interview this gentleman though. Let's say he would cooperate and do an interview with you. What would you ask him?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that last part again.
What would you ask Ellen Greenberg's fiance if you could speak to him?
Oh God, I would love to get this guy in a room alone. All right, this guy, I would definitely press him about what his situation was with her, try to tap into his mindset, look at his body movements, use a ruse to try to see if I can shake him, because I do believe that she was murdered. And I'm going to tell you, and I would express that to him and put the fear of that into him, because the fact is, where is the history of her wanting to commit suicide? I don't see it there. And this is one of the things. Why would this gorgeous woman want to kill herself? Why, truly? And that's what I would press him with and see if I could shake him.
Let me know what you guys think in the comments. You said he made sure that he was on video. Spare me, right, Evil Queen. I do wonder if anybody's going to be held accountable for that. Like, she didn't do this to herself. Just like Celeste Rivas didn't put herself in that car. She didn't do that to herself. She didn't stab herself. Like, that doesn't make sense in my opinion. But, people that have money and high places and connections or some kind of in with the government, they get away with stuff like that. All right, guys, I will see you guys on the next one. I got to go tend to baby Bunny because she's doing the most. I know, no mentioned, right? I think he killed her on planet. Yeah, I think so too. I think he like freaked out and then it just happened. Oh, all right, guys. I will see you guys later on. Have a good one, guys. Bye, guys. I'll be live later. Bye, guys. Bye-bye.